What is going on, sports car fiends? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we're here with a USMNT starting 11 video. I will also be including a few subs, so essentially going through a lot of who I think is going to be on the US men's national team going forward. This is a fun exercise because not only will it allow us to kind of have a good perspective as to who might be here in the future, but it's a timestamp that I can look back on and say, wow, either all of those people are still in the lineup and I did really good, or that was really bad, and you know, that's kind of how our country will progress going forward. It'll be fun to see how it goes. Personally, I think the USMNT is going to have a lot more talent going forward, so I think a lot of these guys are going to be seen as people that will be staples of our lineup going forward, but I think long term you'll be surprised that a few of them might get out-talented by people that we might not even know about yet. So kind of the way that I look at it, I think that this lineup has probably 6 or 7 guys that could be with us for a long time, and then, you know, a couple guys that we might think are that, but they might just get dethroned. So we'll start out of the back with the goalkeeper, kind of get going through this pretty quick because there's going to be a lot of players, but Zach Steffen, 2018 Optic is going to be his rookie. A lot of these guys are going to have 2018 Optic or Don Russ as one of their mainstay rookies. So I think that set is going to be the coveted one for a lot of these guys. There are alternative rookies that I won't be listing, but as for everyone, that's going to be the case, and I definitely recommend checking them out because they are worth a look. But for Zach Steffen, his Optic is $8, which personally, I'm not a huge fan of going out and getting. I honestly don't really have any Zach Steffen because I've never really been convinced he's our guy. I mean, he doesn't really play for Man City, nor would I expect him to, and if he did, he probably would be our guy. But at the end of the day, if I can't really see him play too much, and if goalkeeper is a position in which we are very good at kind of churning out, then I'm not just jumping at $8 optics, even though I do like him and I do think he will be our starter going forward. Next up at right back is Reggie Cannon. This one's kind of debatable. In theory, Serginho Dest is our right back, but because he can play left back or right back, Reggie Cannon's going to be the right back for this demonstration. His BOWMAN is about $2 to $3, so very cheap. Here, a lot like, well, not as much like Steffen. I think Steffen's more of a nailed-on starter than Reggie Cannon is, but with Reggie Cannon as well, I think that just going forward, he probably will be dethroned. Brian Reynolds is a really good one that's kind of lower in the ranks, but he's at Roma, so who knows there. And there are other people at right back. That's kind of a position we have more of than at left back, which is why we throw Serginho Dest over there in the first place. So here, again, I personally have some Reggie Cannon because his numbered stuff was really cheap, especially on release, and so I just grabbed a little bit because I figured he might be our right back going forward, but I wouldn't recommend building too much of a position on him because it's a very iffy spot. Then at right center back, I am going to put Chris Richards here. He is not our starter. He has not started like at all for us, but going forward, he seems to have the highest upside. He was recently with Bayern, got loaned to Hoffenheim, and has been playing really good there. I've been really impressed with him so far, and the team has as well. I think they're in talks of trying to just outright buy him. That rumors kind of started recently, and honestly, I mean, if he could just go in and be a starting center back on a good Bundesliga side, then I'm all about it. He's looked really good, and he's kind of been playing the part really good as far as passing as well, which is a lot of what we're going to need. So I think he will progress into that. His rookie is a tops now, which is about 15 to 20 bucks. Personally, not too big of a fan of that either. I haven't bought too many of them because I think $15 to $20 for a center back that isn't nailed on yet is kind of crazy. I'm not really a big fan of that. The main reason why will be our next center back, who is our left center back, and that is John Brooks. His rookie, as far as I understand, this is one where, you know, as you start to drift further and further back with soccer, it's harder to tell what's going on, but the 2015 Panini John Brooks card, I think this is his rookie, at least from what I can tell on eBay. I haven't seen anything earlier, and that is a very nice looking card that you can get for about $2. I picked up a bunch for $1. They're close to $2. I think you can even get a refractor on ComC right now for like $2 if you kept it in-house. Very affordable, and that's why I'm not very big big on the Chris Richards side of things, because if John Brooks doesn't have that type of hype or even any sort of respect right now, then how can I, just want to go out and grab Chris Richards? It's kind of hard. John Brooks is going to be our mainstay center back as long as he's healthy coming the World Cup 2022, and one of our best passing center backs, which is really what Berhalter wants out of our system. So I think that's definitely the play, and I would pick him much more over Chris Richards, who a lot of people are high on. I get it, but even though he's younger, I'm still buying John Brooks all day. He has one of the more memorable goals for me with the World Cup 2014 header, so I'll take those all day. And then next at left back is Serginho Dest, the one we were talking about earlier, just the man himself. So much fun, so exciting to watch. His Champions League sticker when he was at Ajax is $15, which really isn't too bad. It is a sticker, which is why I don't think it commands the price of what it should be, because $15 is about the same price as what Chris Richards tops now, which is pretty crazy. But because it's a sticker, I don't think it gets that respect. But long term, when you look at Serginho Dest rookies, I mean, he has the sticker that I'm talking about, and essentially he has like Topps Museum autos, and that's basically it as far as Ajax goes. Now, of course, he's going to have a ton of stuff with Barca, but I don't think that it's going to be seen as his rookie at this point, because it's going to already be a year later, and there are established cards of him already in his rookie season at his rookie club. So we'll see how that goes. Personally, big fan of those. I think that the stickers have a lot of potential, because a Yunus Musa one that I'm not going to mention in this video, but it does do about $20 for a Yunus Musa, and so I think to be able to get a Dest one for 15 is pretty good. And then next up at center defensive mid is Tyler Adams. His Topps Chrome will set you back about $15, which isn't too bad. Whenever he was scoring his semifinal goal last year in Champions League, they popped up to I think it was 30. So they're still 50% of what they were at their peak last year when he scored in the Champions League, which is why, again, I think that the U.S. men's national team players have so much potential, because if they can boom just from scoring a Champions League goal, World Cup goals, I don't might mean a little more. I don't know. We'll see. But, oh man, it's just, I don't know what to think really about Tyler Adams as far as an investment. I definitely think he's a nailed on lock player on our team, but he's just a defensive midfielder. So I don't think he's going to be getting that attention. He might end up being a captain at some point. If that ends up being the case, I could see that definitely helping. So I do dabble, but I don't get too many of these, because a lot like with John Brooks, John Brooks is pretty established and kind of a guy for us, and he isn't well respected card price wise. So until I see that sort of bump, then I'll start really respecting Adams, I think, the way we probably should already. I just checked the time for this video. This is going to be a long one, but we're having fun, so I don't care. Next up, Weston McKennie, 2018 Optic. That, again, 2018 Optics is going to be a big set for a lot of the U.S. men's national team guys. Weston McKennie on Juve, it says enough. He's been looking extremely good, and going forward, seems like a staple of our team. Personally, for me, he does seem like one of the guys who could at some point be dethroned. I know it sounds crazy, but before his stint at Juve, I wasn't necessarily convinced that he was going to hold down that position forever. Now, whenever you see this at Juve, people are going to think that. But in reality, if we are a nation that has soccer potential and soccer talent, I think that we're going to have a lot of midfielders that can really boss a game, because, we are kind of a footballing nation with American football, and I think that that's the type of players that we start to build throughout the system, and so I'm not as certain on him, and that is why I haven't been buying too much. I still have a little bit, definitely some nice cards, but I'm not going to be buying too much right now, because I think he's at a pretty hyped price. $25 for an Optic. It's not anything too crazy. Again, none of these guys are up there too much, which is why I love the U.S. men's national team soccer card side of things. But Weston McKennie definitely going to be there going into the foreseeable future in my mind. Next up is Yunus Musa at the other side of the midfield, a younger attacking midfielder for Valencia. Usually actually plays on the right mid side of things, but as far as his hype recently, it's mostly been surrounded by the fact that he said he would play for the U.S. men's national team, and he's been cap-tied, so now he's going to be a part of our team, hopefully into the near future. And this is a person that I feel like could be a McKennie replacement at some point if his game developed the way that it's looking like. He's so strong on the ball. He's just able to keep a game within grasp, which is what I think Serginho Dest offers you a lot, which is just so important, especially in the games that we've been in lately. And you can just tell, like, in the past, we never really had the people that we could go to as outlet to keep the ball and just keep things happening. And Musa is that in midfield for us. His MEGACRACKS rookie right now is about $35. Personally, I'm not too crazy to go out and get it because he did just announce that he's going to be playing for us. So I think the hype's there. But, after Euros, if Euro cards do well and he's still lingering around the same price, I definitely might come back and scoop up some more. As far as I understand with the MEGACRACKS for Yunus Musa as well, they weren't released the same way that other MEGACRACKS were. These weren't something that you could just actively availably get a lot of. So I think going forward there will be a lack of supply of his compared to what you would see of other MEGACRACKS from this year and last year. And then up top we get to have some fun. So I'm going to start on the left wing with Christian Pulisic. His 2016 select is what I think is going to be the go-to rookie. There's also a Donruss that I think is really good as well, so you can't go wrong with either of those in my opinion. The select is a little over $100 right now, and personally I think it might actually be a buy. I was never really too big on Pulisic because at the end of the day, everyone tells you he's overrated because he's American, and he is injured a good bit. But at the end of the day, if he can be healthy for us at the World Cup, he will be the best guy on our team, and that's essentially all that matters. So I don't care about the other noise. I think he's a good buy, and personally going forward, I'll keep an eye on it. I haven't been actively getting too much of him, but as these other guys start to pick up steam like they have been, Pulisic at some point is going to have to kind of bump up as well. So I think we're due for that in the future. Then at striker, Josh Sargent, 2018 Optic rookie, $15. Personally, big fan of this. Big fan of Josh Sargent. Whoever can end up taking that striker role, whoever it is, they're undervalued right now, except for one person. We'll talk about him soon. But I think that most anyone that can take that starting striker role is undervalued right now because they're essentially free. Compared to what you see with Pulisic $100. Like, I know he's amazing, but $100 when you compare it to 15 of our striker is pretty crazy, especially when I think that Josh Sargent is someone that just isn't seen by many. Werder Bremen, not in the news, not scoring tons of goals, but he is an incredible striker that fits our system very well and can definitely slot away goals with the attacking forces that we'll have going forward. So I am very excited for him. I think he is definitely a buy, and a lot of the reason why is we'll compare him to the next guy who is on the right wing, should be our starter going forward, and that is Giovanni Reina. He is like the hyped wonder kid of this team right now. His top chrome price is 250-ish, something like that. But he is just insane. In my opinion, he is the best USMNT player going forward. I still think Pulisic is that now, but Reina has the highest upside, and I think that the Topps Chrome price is kind of justified. But again, whenever something is, $250 and our starting striker is 15, that discrepancy is extremely immense. And so for that reason, I like Reina. I think that maybe base cards aren't the play in scenarios like this, which is personally why I've been picking up some of his RPAs from Topps Museum, because they go for the price of a PSA 10 base card. And so I'd much rather have the high end of what you can get rather than a base card that's just graded well. So I think that there are inefficiencies in other segments of these cards, but I think overall Reina's probably a little overpriced, at least with his base cards. Now onto the super subs. I have 3 backup players that I think can offer a good attacking presence going forward and could potentially pop in terms of price. I'm not going to be focusing on backup goalkeepers, backup center backs, just things that, aren't going to get that attention, because what's the point? So as far as attackers go, we're going to start with the one that I am not as big of a fan of as most right now, and that is Daryl DK. Got a nice little numbered out of 150 right there. Just a Barnsley scoring legend at this point. If you don't know, he has moved from Orlando City over to Barnsley and has been, I think he scored maybe 7 goals in 14 games, and like 5 of them were like sub appearances. So he's doing extremely well in terms of goals and how he's been performing. And even in the friendlies for the USMNT as a sub, he looked pretty good. The first time he came out as a sub, I wasn't really impressed. Second time looked a lot better. So You know, it depends on how he develops, but personally, I don't think he fits our system right now. If we felt like we were outmatched in a game and wanted to just bomb balls forward to him, like, that could be a possibility that works, but I just don't think he fits what we want to do yet. Maybe he can work into that, but his base Bowman price has gotten to about $60, which isn't cheap by any means. It is only pop, I think, a little under 700, so there aren't a ton, which is the big appeal and kind of why it's expensive. But I think at these prices, I'd rather go and grab 4 Josh Sargent optics rather than a Daryl DK Bowman. It's just how I would operate, but that's me. Another alternative as far as a good striker or just overall attacking threat, in my opinion, is Tim Weah. Personally, I am a big Weah stan. I think that right now, I mean, he's essentially a rotational starter for Lille, who's leading like the French league at the moment. So he's been playing pretty good. The last couple years, he has been dealing with hamstring injuries, which is why I think he's flown so under the radar. He hasn't really been able to make the friendlies either lately due to just club stuff and kind of how they're doing so well and need him. So for that reason, I think he's extremely undervalued. That optic is about $10 to $11. And I think that, I mean, for us, he's essentially our backup at right wing, striker, left. I think anywhere up top, if we need someone there, he can be there. And if we need a super sub, he's that guy. So I think that's extremely cheap. I'm a big fan of his, and I think going forward, he'll offer more for Lille. Also, Jonathan David has recently been injured, so he's going to be put on more of a pedestal there, and we'll see how that goes going forward. But I'm a big fan of his. I think he is the best opportunity off the bench for us. And then finally, one that kind of caught me off guard. Like, I have a card, so obviously I knew of him. I knew that he was pretty good, but Brenden Aaronson, I mean, goodness, the last 2 friendlies came on as a sub, looked just so dangerous going forward. Like, Pulisic came off in the first game at, I think it was at the 45th minute, and Brenden Aaronson came on soon after and just freaking took over the wing. He was lighting it up. Josh Sargent had that really good assist to him, but I mean, even the layoff and just the interplay that he had and the electricity he had going forward, I mean, you can tell. And I mean, people about it in soccer kind of joke, but he has gotten a lot better since Salzburg. And going forward, I think he's going to be someone that is just willing to try stuff, willing to be creative, and off the bench, that's what we're going to need. So I think whenever we need a midfielder or even a winger more so, as far as a substitute, he can come on, he can be that, and he looks really, really good. So the good thing that comes out of all of this, in my opinion, is we have depth. As far as striker, winger, all that, before we didn't really know what we had, but now it feels like Pulisic and Reina are nailed on. Our striker position, maybe it's Josh Sargent, but could change. And then we have depth at the wing and at striker if we need it. So overall, I'm very excited for the U.S. men's national team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We'll do more types of them going forward so we can kind of stay updated on the team and who's where and where the card prices are at. Really fun practice too, because I can lay them all out and kind of compare them against each other. So I think I learned a good bit. Hopefully you guys did too. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Anything you want to tell me, let me know in a comment down below. And on top of that, if you want to see more videos like this as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. And with that said, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day and